Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm tempted to say Governor Granholm. Secretary Granholm, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Frankly, we ought to do it more often. But,
we should.
Thanks so much. As we talked about today, we're in the midst of an ongoing energy crisis, and while we're grateful that you've come before the committee, I am disappointed that right now we aren't seeing a strong emphasis coming from the Department of Energy on concerns that we have both in Michigan and the United States, Canada, and we've talked a bit already about the issue of Line 5, but I want to go back to that. And I certainly want to be as respectful as I ought to be on it, but listening to the response to Representative Latta about Line 5, my thoughts went to the fact that you are the energy czar for this country. It's not Secretary Blinken. It's not state that's responsible for energy. As a natural-born Canadian, a naturalized American citizen, governor of Michigan, the answer to the question of does Line 5 have an economic impact upon the state of Michigan, I thought the answer would be absolutely, and not, I can't answer that. And then the response to the question of whether you are keeping in constant contact with state to let them know the energy issues, and you couldn't answer that as well. That's concerning to me, because I don't want Secretary Blinken, who was in Ukraine when I was there this weekend, I don't want him dealing with anything but Secretary of State issues. And though the courts are dealing with right now Line 5, because we have an Attorney General in our state and a governor in our state right now that for some reason want to have a war on energy, and really a war on Canada and Michigan itself to move forward, I think Department of Energy ought to be standing loud and proud and saying, no, this must continue. I got to admit, I almost came down and sat next to you to answer the question and saying, well, I'm not the governor of Michigan, but I am a representative of Michigan, and yes, it has tremendous impact on the economy in Michigan. It has tremendous impact on the economy in Ohio. It has tremendous impact on the economy in Canada. It has a relationship to our two nations that are important. There's a treaty that's there that really right now Michigan is attempting to violate, and with what we saw with the Colonial Pipeline and the impact there, I mean, I'll be flying home on a flight tomorrow that has fuel, most likely that came from Line 5, that's in my plane, and the number of jobs that could be impacted by that. That gives me concern, in all honesty, about what energy is doing, the Department of Energy is doing for energy. Could I give you a chance to answer again that question? Does Line 5 and what it brings through have an economic impact on Michigan and the country?
I have learned in my years in politics that sometimes it is best not to get in front of a state's governor or a president, especially if you're in that administration, and if something is in the courts, which it is.
What advice are you giving to the president about the necessity of having resources that come in partnership with Canada and impact the United States significantly?
In fact, Canada, my counterpart in Canada, Jonathan Wilkinson, who is their energy minister, and I signed an MOU about the importance of working together on energy issues. We were specifically referring to critical minerals, but it is important. Canada's a huge ally, and they have similar goals as we do.
Well, critical minerals are important, especially as we're thinking of the electrification of vehicles, et cetera. But right now, we don't have that up and running as complete as it will be. And we need the resources that come from our natural resources right now. I'm over time. I appreciate you letting me do that, and I hope we can talk further and ultimately see energy take a stand on energy. I yield back.